So over the last couple of days, I have gotten a very addictive guilty pleasure of mine, and that is reading the Reddit AmITheAsshole, basically the AITA Reddit AmITheAsshole. If you don't know what this Reddit is, it's basically a Reddit where people put in a scenario where they want to know if they are the asshole or the person or persons they have talked about in the scenario are the asshole in the situation. So they put a scenario up that has happened, and basically the whole Reddit comes together and figures out, is the person that put it up the asshole or the person that they are talking about the asshole, if that makes sense. You will gather while we do it. It's so fun and it's so addictive because it tickles some weird part of your brain that is so, oh, I want to know more kind of thing, and I love it, so we're gonna do it. I have sorted it for top this week, so I guess we're gonna take some of them, see how many we can get into this video, and just have some fun with it, because some of them are fun, but some of them are also very serious, and I'm not gonna shy away from the very serious ones, because those are kind of the most interesting to read, because they are crazy sometimes. So let's get into it. Let's get to the first one. So, am I the asshole for correcting a friend when she said she rehomed her cat? Okay, this is a very short one, then they tend to be very long. My friend told a story about rehoming her cat because it wouldn't stop going to the bathroom on her bed. Okay, it wouldn't basically stop taking a dump on her bed, which is fair. You would not want to have a cat taking a dump on your bed, but I guess, would there not be a better way of making it not do that than literally giving it away? But fair enough. She said she put the cat in its carrier and left it outside the door of a local saloon before they opened. She said she checked in later and one of the girls had decided to adopt the cat. So the rehoming was a success. I can already see where this is going, because basically just gave another person your problem and then just called it a rehoming, which is, I guess it's got a new home, but I also guess that's not how it works. But let's read the last sentences. I told her that what she did was not rehoming and that what she had actually done was dump her cat. I agree. I told her that rehoming involves finding an owner and vetting them in advance. She got very angry at me for judging her. Am I the asshole? You can see that if it has this, it has already been basically unanimously agreed that she's not the asshole, but I'm not gonna try and take this into account when I'm reading them. In this scenario, I definitely don't think this person is an asshole. Why would they be an asshole? They're not judging her, they're just saying what she said is wrong. She did basically just have a problem with her cat and then just said, you know what, I'm gonna put the cat outside some random shop door, if that were your saloon, and just say, you get this cat now. What if they didn't want it? Is that what if she said, oh, the rehoming was a success, but what if it wasn't? Then you just basically put your cat out on the street and it has no home anymore. So you're basically not the asshole. She basically just did throw her cat away because it shat in her bed. I can see why that is a problem, but I can also, a normal rehoming is basically saying, or maybe putting the cat up for, so you can buy it or stuff like that. And, everybody has to agree that this is the new home for the cat and not just dumping it some random doorstep. So definitely not the asshole in this situation. Your friend is definitely the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law to get over herself and stop trying to one-up us? Okay, so now a lot of these you will gather the more videos we do of this, or the more you watch these videos from other creators, because it's really something a lot of creators do, and I just found it so nice or so fun to watch. Not nice. A lot of them is family drama and they are crazy sometimes. And here is one of them, but I don't know how crazy this one is. Throwaway account. So basically this account is, I think when they write that, is because they use this account to stay anonymous. My 29-year-old male wife, 27-year-old female. Okay, so the person writing this, 29-year-old male, his wife is 27-year-old female. And the sister, 30-year-old female. Okay, so his sister-in-law and his wife's sister is 30-year-old female. Got pregnant around the same time. The babies are the first of a new generation on their side of the family, so everyone was excited. Sister-in-law was further along, but my wife ended up giving birth on week 32. Plus she had some complications that had her hospitalized. My nephew was born 2 weeks later at full term. Okay, so basically the wife's sister was further along, but his wife still gave birth. She gave birth early, so they got their baby before the sister did. Apparently, sister-in-law was resenting having her thunder stolen and felt like she and her new baby weren't getting enough attention. She keeps making these comments like she's trying to one-up us. Okay, I can basically see where this is going. Let's just read. First, she was saying how sorry she was that my wife missed the golden hour because they had to take our son to the NICU. This upset my wife since during her hospitalization, she was often too sick to visit the NICU, and she already feeling crabby about missing skin to skin on those few weeks. Listen, I don't know exactly what NICU is, but I guess it's a place where they take your baby and you have to actively go there to be with your baby, and I guess it's just a place to have the baby to be sure that when you, this is all guessing, but I feel like it's a place where they take the baby to be sure that when you have given birth too early that the baby's okay, basically for the first couple of days maybe, or something, maybe just the first day, I don't know. But as you gotta remember, for the one writing this, it's his sister-in-law, so maybe it's not the most important person in his life, but this is literally his wife's actual sister, blood sister, saying to her, you missed the golden hour. That is crazy, because as she said to his wife, it was very, very, tough missing that skin to skin in the first, because, for some people that is the most important when they give birth, like the first, they get to the skin of the mother and then to the father maybe, and stuff like that is so important, has been seen to be so important, or some people believe it is, and I just think overall it's just such a beautiful moment, even if you believe it's important or not. So to nag her about that is crazy stuff, but we move on. After we started to bring our son to family gatherings, sister-in-law started comparing the boys, saying how much bigger and more alert her son looks like compared to ours, and how he hit more milestones. I don't gotta say anything about this. This is just pure cruelty. Like, this is just cruel on every single level. How are you as a sister doing this to your own sister? I really hope you're just blind in, you just zoned out and blind to what you're doing and you actually don't realize it, because if you do this intentionally, realizing what you're doing, that is crazy to do to your own sister, man. That is insane. Last weekend, we had lunch with my in-laws. My wife and I was excited to tell everyone that our son laughed for the first time earlier that day. He, 3.5 months old, corrected. Okay, he was 3.5 months old. Mother-in-law and father-in-law were having a good time watching the video when son-in-law made another comment about sister-in-law when sister-in-law made another comment about how her son did that a month ago. Okay, so basically their son laughed for the first time. They have a video of it, which is so good, so nice. And basically the mother-in-law, father-in-law loved it, but then sister-in-law had to say, my son already done it. Can you show a video maybe? I don't think so. I don't know why that was the last straw, but I just about had it. I told sister-in-law that she's pathetic for trying to one up a freaking baby, that her full-term son wasn't special for being more developed than a premier. That's basically someone that, or a baby that comes out a little bit too early. That she should get the fuck over not giving birth to the first grandbaby. Yeah, so basically she should not do all this stuff just because she didn't have her baby first, and I totally get him for this. I can basically see that if she keeps on one-upping and keeps on saying all this stuff, and at least, the one with the golden hour is crazy to me still. That is still, if you really think about that, it's crazy. That is crazy to say to your own sister. Oh, you missed the golden hour. Okay, dickhead. Okay, needless to say, this ruined lunch. Lunch is ruined. You just ruined lunch. And my wife's family is pissed. I admit I was harsh with my words and tone, and this was the first time I confronted her family like this. Up until now, we each handle our own relatives, but these comments upset my wife and pissed me off. So, am I the asshole for being harsh and not staying in my lane? The whole staying in your lane I don't really get, because this is literally your lane. You are the dad of this son, so you're not staying in your lane, because this is literally your lane, and she keeps on bringing your son, so I cannot see how you're doing exactly what you should, in my opinion. You're not the asshole, she's definitely the asshole, and if this has happened a lot more than we even gather in this post, we should have done it way, way sooner, in my opinion. But I think the only thing this person could have done better, I don't think he's the asshole whatsoever. I think the sister-in-law is the asshole. I think the only thing you could have done better is maybe you could have talked to her one-on-one, or maybe you and your wife could have talked to her, but if that felt a little bit two-on-one-ish, you could have talked to her one-on-one, maybe doing a little bit more chill, and then if she keeps going, you could have that in front of everyone. But I can definitely see why this got him upset, and I can definitely see why he maybe feels like the asshole because he did it in front of everyone, but I can also see why you would blow up if this happens. So for me, the sister-in-law is definitely the asshole, and it doesn't really matter how he handled it. He could have handled it maybe better, but she's still the asshole. Am I the asshole for a text I sent in a group chat while in labor? Let's jump into this. 29, female, so she's 29, female, gave birth to my third baby in November. The woman in my husband's family, his two sisters, our sister-in-law and his mom, and I have a group chat, whereas we send pictures of our kids, tell funny stories about our day, and in case, send updates about possible labor. Fair enough. On this particular day in November, at 37 weeks plus 5 days, I don't know what that is, gestation? I don't know really what that is. I reached out to inform that this just might be the day my newest baby decides to make his grand entrance. I had been having strong contractions since, okay, so she's been feeling it. It's a hard word for me to say when being from Denmark. She's basically had feeling it in her stomach since 5:05 that morning. Everyone except sister-in-law, my husband's brother's wife, responded with excitement and praying hands emojis. Well, according to the nurses at the hospital, I wasn't dilated enough to be admitted, despite strong and frequent contractions. That was at noon. Okay, so they don't feel like what she has is enough for her to be at the hospital, basically. I updated the chat. Everyone seemed concerned and asked if I still thought it might still be the day. I assured it was most likely going to happen that day, judging from past experience, but I would go home to labor in comfort. Okay, so she would go home, wait a little bit, see if it got worse or better. I don't know. Baby is coming. Maybe, just wait it out. This is where I might be the asshole. My sister-in-law, who also gave birth to her third baby a couple months prior by a C-section, I am not judging nor think of her as less than, just context is key, decided to text how glad she was that I wasn't in real labor, and that it's better that I have waited for the baby another couple of weeks. She then sent a bunch of screenshots and links to articles about false labor and Braxton Hicks, as if I had never given birth before or experienced pregnancy before. I replied mid-contraction, not to be Betty, but this ain't my first rodeo and I know how to Google things as well. Okay, now we are getting into the thick of it, as KSI would say. This is a weird one for me because I don't know, of course, nothing about pregnancy at all. I would still consider myself as a child at 23 years old, which is just sad in so many ways. I could definitely see why, this group chat has been very, oh my god, nice for you, oh my god, nice for you. So when the sister-in-law basically comes in with do this to her out of nowhere, and she has 2 kids already, I can see why that would be a little bit, okay, I do know how this works, so. And yes, I have been checked, and they will check again before deciding if I should go home or not. Well, I did go home, only to go back to the hospital a couple of hours later and had my baby at 10:15 that night. Okay, so she ended up being right, which in my opinion, of course, makes it better for her, but it doesn't really change what I think about the whole situation up until this point. I still think the sister-in-law should just, not... I don't know, she could be trying to help, but it just seems a little bit passive-aggressive to me. Sister-in-law does not reply to me in text and has since unfriended me on Facebook. Not that I really care about that. I just want to know if I was an asshole for what I said, and in hindsight, perhaps I should have been texting in the group chat while in labor. I shouldn't have texted in a group chat. Okay, so she shouldn't have said... You can definitely text in a group chat. This is insane. Of course you should text in a group chat. You can, you don't have to. Of course you can text in a group chat with the literal family that you're in labor. That is... Okay. Reddit, was I an asshole? Edit. I meant to elaborate on the C-section detail, which definitely makes me come across as someone who looks down on her for it, which I do not. Her first baby was a preemie, and she had and she had an emergency C-section. Her youngest 2 were scheduled. The point I was trying to make was that our experiences with pregnancy and childbirth are completely different, which I could have said without the C-section fact. My apologies. Okay, she makes up for that. Edit, a little more info about my sister-in-law and my relationship. Okay, so there's a lot more to it. She thinks she is the matriarch of the family, even if she won't admit it. Is that kind of the head of the family, kind of? I'm not really sure. I think that if that one would stand for, in the comments say if I'm wrong about that. We recently moved out of state, only 2 hours away, long drive. but not as long as they treated. A few months before I gave birth, and she started cutting us out of family get-together and even created a whole new group chat without my husband and me. She's always shocked at how intelligent my husband is because he went to community college instead of university like she did. I didn't go to college. I saw no point in going into debt. I didn't know what I would go to college for, so I decided to wait. She often treats me like I am unintelligent. I think she's snappy. Text was probably long in coming, but I was poorly timed and shouldn't have been in a group chat. It was not the first time I had gone off on her in a group chat either. She singled me out a few months prior, questioning my ability to care for my kids by myself while my husband was away for a couple of days. Okay, I have learned in my life up until this point that there's always two sides to every story, but of course, as she's saying it right now, she really does sound like the sister-in-law, really does sound like the asshole. But one thing I will take into question, where I kind of take the other side of the coin, is when the sister-in-law makes a new group chat, why is no one else questioning why the husband and her are not in the group chat, if that makes sense? You know, that kind of gives me a red flag that there may be something up with the person writing this Reddit post. But you can tell what you think about that. But in my opinion, that kind of does seem like maybe something is wrong then. So yeah, I see that, but let's go on. Yes, in the big family group chat, so I snapped back. My husband saw the message before me and said, I'll let you handle her, as he held back many times before to keep peace. Like I said, I was possibly poorly timed, but long in coming. Okay, this is crazy. Even though she gives so much detail, I have a hard time telling who's the asshole specifically. I'm gonna go check the comments on this one. As someone who gave birth, not the asshole. You are in labor, that gave you a bit of grace. I'm gonna go not the asshole. All those articles and screenshots wasn't necessary when you've literally given birth multiple times before. Okay, that's basically the same thing I'm saying. And you didn't say anything wrong. You've been in labor before and you also have Google at your fingertips. That is true, but could it have been said better or maybe privately? Yes, but I think the context about the C-section is really important. I'm literally the only one in my generation of cousins to have had a vaginal births. We are all still actively expanding our families, and I can definitely feel the shift when I talk about my labor story sometimes. I'm not projecting on your sister-in-law, but my family members can't be the only ones that experience at last a tiny bit of jealous surrounding it, especially if she attempted and failed at a VBAC before. Plus, why the hell are you actually a woman that's literally in labor? If you blink too hard while I'm in labor, I'm gonna be pissed off. So yeah, I'm not the asshole. Okay, basically, she's not the asshole in the situation, but I definitely would. The whole group chat thing is still iffing me up a little bit, because if she's making a group chat without the husband and her in it, I would, as another family member, definitely be setting questions to that if they're not all in on it, if that makes sense. But that's crazy. I can't really remember how many we got. I got through only 3 maybe, but I think we're gonna end it there. I don't know how long the video will be. I think we got some good ones, some interesting ones, and I hope you liked the video. If you did, I would love for you to maybe like the video, and if you really did enjoy, you can, of course, subscribe as well. And then see you in the next one, and have a very good day when you see this.